Today, I am going to be giving you 3 reasons why you might be stuck on chasing a certain person or outstaying a relationship, finding it hard to end that relationship and walk away. And stay tuned for the end because I'm going to give you some extra support plus a question that you can ask yourself that's going to help you to break free from feeling stuck. So, if you're someone who obsesses, overthinks, struggles to trust yourself around moving on and letting go, often you can be falling into certain mind tricks. You can be experiencing certain thinking patterns that make it really difficult to make a decision or to move on. And I have a feeling if you relate to the work that I do, then you're going to fall into one or more of the 3 patterns that I'm going to share. So, before I continue, I'm Carly Ann. I'm a holistic attachment coach and founder of Follow Your Fire, which is your online membership for all things attachment styles and rediscovering yourselves. There's resources over there to support with attachment healing. There's people over there just like you, just like me, that also support that movement from insecure to secure attachment, if that's what you're here looking for. So let's get started. The first kind of mind trick pattern that you might find yourself in when you are stuck on someone is this idea of them being the last person on earth. Sometimes when there has been an ending or something's coming to an end, you can be really, really worried and concerned and actually believe that there's not going to be anyone else like this, that this is the last time someone's going to treat me that way, if there was perhaps one good thing that they were doing even, or I'm never going to fancy anyone like that again. This is never going to happen for me again. And sometimes we might stay in something because that fear and that belief feels so real. So I wonder if you can relate to that now, or if you have related to that in the past. Let me know in the comments. You don't have to do anything at this moment. You might be thinking, but what do I do about that? At the moment, never undervalue acknowledging, yes, I am recognizing that mind trick. And like I say, I'll give you something in a minute that's going to support that as well. The next pattern that you might be falling into, and this one is something I have related to a lot in the past, and I would say this has kept me in relationships that I probably had that knowing wasn't the right thing for me. And that is having images and thoughts and ideas about this person that you're attached to or interested in with someone else. And that can be imagining them doing the same things that you do with them, or just imagining them with someone else and spending time with them in their own way. Or it can be that they're going to change for this person. And that can be really fearful, especially if you combine it with the first one. They're the last person on earth and they've met someone else, or they could meet someone else. It can freeze you. It can really trap you into staying where you are because we're not expanding our vision of what is possible for us beyond this person. So yeah, imagining them with someone else, that fear of not being chosen, of being left on your own, enhances all of that. It's not real, of course, and you can always cope with what you don't think you can. So not only will you be imagining this worst case scenario, probably to the point of feeling sick and feeling like it's actually happening and real, but you also will be underestimating how well you can cope with that. So something for me in the past, when it's I've had that fear of them meeting someone else, I would just remind myself, you will be able to cope if and when that happens. You will find the resources in you to cope with that. But right now, you don't need to be worrying about that. If it is something that's real for you right now, then perhaps you can look inward and see if there's anything that you're doing well, if you can find something in you that feels okay, that shows that you are coping, and if you can begin to imagine what is out there for you. Next, the mind trick we can fall into is being convinced that this might be the one, very similar to the first one, but so we are full of like worried about regret, basically. So the next one, if I can word it better, is fearing regret. Am I going to regret this? Is this going to be the wrong thing? How do I know that this is the right path for me or not the right path for me? And we want that certainty and the fear, like we often have that fear of living in regret. And so again, it's really trusting the process, trusting that there are always like path A and path B that we can take, and each of them are going to have their pros and cons. Each of them might come with some regrets, but we can only really go on what we're experiencing in this current moment rather than anticipating. So you could always play the fun what if game as well. So yeah, lots of little gems and tips in there for you as well that I didn't necessarily know I was going to bring, but hopefully they have, just given you some insight into how you can manage each of these beliefs or mindsets that you might be finding yourself in. I'm going to now share something that I think can be really useful and a question that you can ask yourself. Just before I do that, I do want to ask if you can subscribe to this channel, like this video, leave a comment if you feel inclined to. I know the comments can be that like extra step, but certainly click on the subscribe because YouTube loves it. And there are so many people out there, just like you, just like me, that are also searching on YouTube for these problems and these difficulties and to heal their attachment wounds. And the only way they're going to find us, our community, is through this channel growing. So I would love if you would subscribe and like. What I wanted to share with you that I think can be helpful, and this is not to minimize your experience, and this is not to say there is a one size fits all. When I'm working with people, I meet you where you are. We support you with your experience. But that said, it can be really powerful to know that these experiences, these three, and listen, trust me, I know that there's plenty more. You might be falling into plenty other kind of mind traps and patterns that you're probably quite aware of. But usually there is a reason, there is a way that we're trying to protect ourselves with these patterns. And knowing that you're not on your own, knowing that I get it and that I've fallen into these patterns, and so have people over inside Follow Your Fire, or that I work with, or that are watching this YouTube video, you're not on your own. And it's really, really useful that we just hold on to that knowing, because we can feel like we're on our own. So just a reminder to normalize this, that what you're experiencing when there are endings, especially if there's attachment issues, these patterns are quite common actually. And the good thing is about that, it means that we can change them. The question I think can be really useful for you to journal on or just ponder on is, who would I be without this pattern? Who would I be without these thoughts? Who would I be without these images? Just give some attention to that. Give some attention to that version of you. Who would you be if you stopped imagining them with someone else? What would life look like if you didn't have the fear that they were the last person on earth? How would that change how you show up today? How would it change your posture in this exact moment? How would it change how you breathe? So it's just something to, food for thought, if you like. Like I say, I'd love it if you subscribe. Come and find me on Instagram. If this is really talking to you and you want to go deeper, you can work with me one-to-one. I have a one-to-one program. You can join the membership if you're just diving in and you want just that bit more support. Then I really recommend you checking out Follow Your Fire. Do not forget, you are enough, you are lovable, you are so, so worthy, and you are irreplaceable.